Greetings and hello. Today we're going to be talking about the full moon in Capricorn, which happens tomorrow if you are living on the West Coast. It happens at 9:52 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time, and here on the East Coast where I am, it's going to be happening on June 28th at 12:52 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. And this full moon is in Capricorn, and it is conjoined Capricorn's ruler, Saturn. And this is our first lunation. This is our first full moon with a conjunction to Saturn since Saturn has been in Capricorn. So this is basically a time to check in with ourselves. Check in with ourselves since December of 2017 when Saturn first entered Capricorn. And we began more focused on what we're building, because Capricorn is about accomplishment, and it's our ambitions, and it's our desire to make a mark on the world and to create supportive structures that support us both financially and practically in our lives. And much of the work that we did while Saturn was in Sagittarius was figuring out the dream and seeing what was possible. And since Saturn entered Capricorn this last December, it's been about manifesting. How can we manifest these goals that we have that are in alignment with our spirit and our truth? And luckily for us, Mars is stationing retrograde right now. So Mars is stationing today, right now, as we speak. It's standing still in the sky. And this is quite spectacular because Mars retrogrades are rare. They only happen every couple of years. So it's really a chance for us to get in touch with our desires. So as we are kind of going back to our original goal with the structures that we want to enforce in our lives and create, Mars is helping us to check in with our desires again and to make sure that everything that we're invested in is in alignment with our truth and what our passions are. And Mars is stationing on the South Node, and the South Node it's like a vortex. It sucks things out and purges. So this can be a difficult energy. We've had some suicides in the news recently, and because Mars on the South Node can feel like a loss. You're at a loss for things. It's not necessarily a good feeling, but if we can use it to work with us and help us to look objectively at our lives and see what needs to go, what's holding me back, what can I make room for essentially in my life. So Mars on the South Node is going to help us purge and help us get rid of things altogether. And you say, I'm done with that. And Saturn in Capricorn with the full moon on Saturn, it makes things really clear because Saturn's a no bullshit planet. And this is why Saturn has a bad reputation, because there's nothing flowery about Saturn. It is what it is. And sometimes that's a great thing. Sometimes things are going really great. And so Saturn can help us to be grateful and look at things objectively and just be like, you know what, that's pretty good. Got that going on. But it can also be a little bit of a downer because you realize the truth, that things aren't quite as flowery maybe. So this can be a time to get really, really clear. Full moons bring everything into fullness so we can see things more clearly. Everything becomes illuminated. So we're looking with a special eye to the structures in our lives. We're starting to see more clearly right now with the Saturn and the full moon in Capricorn. And the full moon squares Chiron in Aries. And Chiron in Aries is helping us to gain more confidence and heal any stigma or things that are holding us back from being our full, authentic selves. It's helping us to have more courage to express our truths and to really go for it. And so Chiron is also about the journey from wounding to healing. We're all human, we're all mortal, no one is perfect, we all have a wound and we're all working to heal it, big or small. And so Chiron getting involved in this full moon kind of asks us, hey, are these structures and goals that you're working on, are they supportive? Are they healing for your truth? And, so we can start to get really clear about this, as well as with our desires, with the Mars being retrograde all summer. It's really about getting clear on what's in the highest alignment for ourselves and what do we need to get rid of for this, to make room for more possibility that's supportive of our spirit and our highest nurturing. Because Sun is in Cancer. We want to be nurtured. We want to protect ourselves. And Saturn does want to protect. Saturn rules walls and boundaries. It's important to have healthy boundaries. But sometimes, especially on the collective stage right now, those boundaries can be too strict. And my phone literally just alerted me this morning that the Supreme Court has upheld Donald Trump's travel ban against Muslim countries and other countries. And so we can see the astrology at work, because behind that is fear, and Saturn can be fear. And that very fear is why, Saturn is associated with caution and walls and protection. And again, we need certain amount of protection. We need boundaries, or else we'd be falling out of our bodies. We need our bones to hold us up. We need scaffolding on our house. It gives us shelter. It protects. But often in the collective, we see the extreme version of this manifest. And so this is, of course, devastating, but it is astrology at work, because when we go back, this is the full moon in Capricorn. When we go back to the new moon in Capricorn of 2016, that's when Donald Trump was about to get sworn in as president. And this was something that he was promising, was travel ban, travel ban, travel ban. And that was back when Saturn was still in Sagittarius, which is fear of foreigners and fear of the unknown, because Sagittarius rules foreign travel and distant travel and higher learning, and by exposing yourself to things that are totally foreign to you, things that you didn't grow up with as being familiar. So here we have 18 months later, we're seeing the end result of this. And it's not the end, by the way. But this is something that has come to fruition for the president and those that are behind him. But this is an important reminder that rules are rules, but they're not always correct or just or compassionate or right. And so we have a right to also challenge these walls. So going back to the example of our own lives, what is limiting, but you've accepted that it should be there? I offer you to challenge it, challenge a way around it. Again, this full moon can bring so much clarity. And so take some time to be in reflection with yourself, and don't be afraid to dream, because Mars retrograde wants us to go back and explore those other possibilities that we've maybe discounted, and maybe even come up with something new. See a new way around it. It's in Aquarius, and Aquarius is innovative. And even though it's moving backwards and it's going to dip back into Capricorn, Mars is going to whip back forward through Aquarius at the end of the year. So don't be afraid to dream up the possibilities and challenge those limiting structures, and maybe create healthy supportive structures to support your truth and who you are. Sat Nam.